There are many reasons why people choose to charge their electric vehicle at home. First off, it's by far the most convenient place to charge. It's usually the least expensive place to charge. And it's actually better for your battery because you're charging it at a lower rate than you do at DC fast chargers, and that helps the battery last longer. And charging at home is inherently extremely safe. There's a lot of safeguards built into your vehicle and to the charging equipment to make sure that that process is very safe. However, when you install your home electric vehicle charging equipment, it's critical that you purchase high quality, safety certified charging equipment. And if you're going to be plugging it into an outlet, you have to make sure you purchase a high quality, industrial grade outlet. You also should always have your electric vehicle charging equipment installed by a licensed professional that is experienced in installing electric vehicle charging equipment. Now, recently, a follower of mine reached out to me because he had a problem. He didn't follow best practices when it comes to installing his electric vehicle charging equipment, and it came back to bite him. Now, he's lucky because he just lost his charger and the outlet that it was installed on. Could have been much worse because if you don't install your electric vehicle charging equipment properly, you can have a fire in your home. Now, luckily he didn't have that issue, but nonetheless, he needs a new charger, he needs the circuit to be rewired, and a new outlet for the charger. And I've agreed to go to his house and do all this with the Qmerit team and make sure it's all done correctly. So in about an hour, I'm going to head to the airport, fly from New Jersey to Washington State, where tomorrow we're going to fix his problem. So let's get into it. Okay, so before I head out, I just want to go over the NEMA 1450 outlets really quickly. These are the most common outlets that are used for electric vehicle charging. They're wired to a 50 amp circuit, and when you use a NEMA 1450 outlet, you can charge at a rate of up to 40 amps. Now, it is a 50 amp circuit that you put this on, but the National Electric Code has a rule called the continuous load rule. And when you're going to be drawing power for more than 3 hours continuously, it's called a continuous load. And if the device is going to be doing that, and electric vehicle charging does that, you charge for many continuous hours. Unlike most things in your home, other than lights, which draw very little power, don't run for 3 hours continuously. Even high load devices like electric ranges or electric clothes dryers that use a lot of power, they don't typically run for 3 hours or more. I mean, electric range could on some days like Thanksgiving if you're cooking a turkey or something like that. But most devices don't run for longer than 3 hours. But electric vehicle charging does. And if your use is going to be a continuous load, the NECS code says that you can't draw more than 80% of the circuit. So with electric vehicle charging on a 50 amp circuit, which is what you would wire a NEMA 1450 outlet to, that's the 50 in the name of it, the most you could draw is 40 amps continuously. So with a plug-in electric vehicle charger that can deliver 40 amps, you'll be delivering 40 amps to your electric vehicle, which is just under 10 kilowatts, pretty high charge rate. And there are a number of outlets that you could purchase on the market that are NEMA 1450 outlets. I'm going to talk about this basic Leviton outlet first because it's been over the years probably the most popular one. Leviton's a huge company. They make a lot of really good electrical devices. They also make a very low-cost NEMA 1450 outlet that's been super popular over the years. You can probably buy this at your local Home Depot, your local Lowe's. Many hardware stores sell these. They're super cheap. They're like 10 bucks. And they've been fine to use over the years because of the duty cycle of the appliances that have been being plugged into them, like a dryer or an electric range. Because they're not used many continuous hours, sometimes every day of the week, they've held up just fine. However, with electric vehicle charging now becoming more and more popular and more people are installing pluggable units into NEMA 1450 outlets, we're finding that the basic Leviton NEMA 1450 outlet that you can buy for like 10 bucks is not sufficient for electric vehicle charging. They're melting, they're causing fires. I have dozens and dozens of pictures of followers that have sent me pictures of what happened to their NEMA 1450 outlet. And they're like, Tom, what happened here? The thing melted on me. So much so that Leviton understands this, that their basic outlet is not sufficient for electric vehicle charging. And just this year, about 6-7 months ago, they came out with a new NEMA 1450 outlet. They still sell the cheap one, but this one is called their specific EV charging 1450 outlet. Take a look at the difference in the size of this thing. You know, everything is larger on it. The terminal blocks are larger. The connections inside are thicker. It's heavier. Everything about it is beefy and more industrial grade. Even though they actually do call this industrial grade, it's not. This is household grade. I don't think there's a standard body that decides if something can be called industrial or commercial or household, but the basic $10 one is not sufficient for electric vehicle charging. If anybody watching this video has a simple $10 Leviton outlet in their garage, or if you're not sure if your NEMA 1450 is this real cheap one, swap it out, have it replaced, because you're asking for trouble, like my follower that we're going to go to his house later today did. Okay, so Leviton, as I said, knows that their basic outlet is not up for the duty cycle of electric vehicle charging, even though it's a 50 amp outlet. And a lot of people post in my comments, Tom, if it's a 50 amp outlet, it should be able to deliver 40 amp continuously. You're right, it should be able to. But you know how corporations work. If they can make something a little bit cheaper and get away with it, they'll do that. And they've been doing that for years because there were no devices that had the duty cycle of electric vehicle charging. Now that we have it, we're realizing this basic outlet is no good for electric vehicle charging. So what most people have done until now that Leviton has created this EV specific outlet was buy higher quality outlets like this one here. This is made by Hubble. This costs like $70 or $80, somewhere around there. You can take a look. It looks very similar to the EV specific Leviton outlet, you know, and much beefier and higher quality than the simple $10 one. So either of these I'm fine with you using. Okay, so I'm going to be going to my follower's house out in Washington because he did a self-install, which is another thing that I try to tell people not to do. Now, I'm a do-it-yourselfer. I do a lot of stuff around my house, probably stuff that I shouldn't do, but I open things up and try to fix things myself. Sometimes I find up that I get myself in trouble, but more often than not, I actually are able to do things. I love people that do things themselves. With EV charging, I kind of draw the line and I say, this is something that you really shouldn't be doing yourself, which he did. And he installed the NEMA 1450 outlet, bought a cheap outlet, and it melted on him and it almost set his house on fire. So we're going to go out there and fix it. So why is this such a problem with EV charging? Well, because electric vehicle charging draws more power than anything else in your house, way more power than anything else. As a matter of fact, when you're charging your electric vehicle from a NEMA 1450 outlet, or if you've hardwired the chargers like I have here, you are most likely drawing more current to your car than the rest of your house is combined. And in many instances, you're drawing more current to your vehicle than your house and your neighbor's house combined. So that's how much power electric vehicle charging takes from your house. If there's any weak link in that whole circuit from your service panel to the outlet, there's going to be a problem. And you get a lot of heat buildup when you're delivering that much current. And particularly if you live in let's say a cold weather area where the outlet is cold during the day, then you plug in your charger at night. I mean, the outlet could be like 30 or 40 degrees. And then at night you plug in your charging and it charges for 7 or 8 hours. That outlet probably gets up to like 110, 120 degrees. So what happens is there's expansion and contraction of the wires and the connections. And if they're not torqued to the manufacturer's specifications, the screws start backing out. And when they back out, the wires get loose, they start arcing, poof, you can have a fire. So that's why I always advocate for having a licensed professional install your electric vehicle charging equipment. They'll bring torque wrenches, they'll torque all the connections to the right amount, they'll make sure they use the right gauge wire, the right type of wire, and they'll use the right type of outlets if you're not hardwiring your electric vehicle charger. So there's a lot of reasons why you should spend a few extra bucks and have a professional install your electric vehicle charging equipment. Listen, you know, as I said, I'm a do-it-yourselfer. I love saving money, but when it comes to installing your charging equipment, honestly, if you're doing it yourself, if you really don't know what you're doing, and those of you that are out there that know what you're doing, okay, you know what you're doing. But there's a lot of people that say, it doesn't look that hard. It looks like 3 wires. I can do it myself. You're going to end up putting your family's lives at risk. It's that serious. Okay, enough soapbox standing. That's my position. You guys know how I feel about it. Get a licensed professional. You just got this great new electric vehicle. You probably spent a lot of money on it. Do the right thing and have your electric vehicle equipment installed properly. Okay, I got to get going. I got to hop on a plane and we got to see what's going on at Fritz's house in Washington State. State of Charge is powered by Qmerit. After I help you decide which electric vehicle charger you're going to buy, follow the link in the description of my videos and have the installation professionals at Qmerit install it. And by following the link, Qmerit will waive the $200 on-site inspection fee. But in order to have that fee waived, you have to follow the link in the description of my videos. Okay, so I'm here in Washington State at Fritz's house. Took a quick look at what we got going on here, Fritz. Doesn't look too good in there.
No, definitely not.
I'm glad it wasn't worse.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how did we get to where we are here? What did you do here?
Yeah, so 2020, bought the house. Basically housing supply shortage, building supply shortage. And so I got what I could, right? I got 1450 outlet, I got the box, got the wires, and had to order half of it off Amazon. Did the install myself and screwed everything down to Guten tight, right?
Guten tight, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a Leviton NEMA 1450 outlet, one of the cheap ones.
Yeah. I think it was like $15 or so back then. And I had seen some other YouTubers who had some issues with theirs. I actually bought a Hubble outlet.
You bought the good, like $50, $60 one.
Yep, got a torque wrench, was getting ready to do, well, not getting ready, was slacking on doing it, but.
Let me ask you a question. How long have you had that Hubble that you were gonna upgrade?
Like 4 months.
Okay, yeah. So you knew that what you had here was insufficient by watching stuff online. A lot of people don't know that. At least you kind of knew that you needed to upgrade it.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to be an issue if you pull it out, plug it multiple times.
But you did
the kind of things you don't do with dryers.
Yeah, you have the juice box, an old school juice box, which I love here, and you just left it plugged in.
I just
you
left
never
it plugged in
or plugged. Yeah, and that I think that's a misnomer. I think a lot of people believe that that's what's causing a problem. The wearing, that really doesn't. You know, it's the connections on the inside. You didn't use a torque. You bought a torque wrench now.
Bought a torque wrench.
You didn't use one initially.
Yeah.
I noticed you do have copper wires though, which is good. You didn't use aluminum, which would have made it it would have failed earlier if you used aluminum. So, okay. And I noticed the plug is charred too.
Yep.
So this is no good now. I mean, I would never just replace the plug.
No wire brush.
Yeah. So, and you told me you have 2 EVs. You've got a Tesla Model Y and a Ford F-150 Lightning.
Yes.
Awesome.
Flash.
That's great. So, and you said that, you'd like to be able to charge them both at once. So you asked my recommendation on an EVSC with 2 cords. So I thought of the Grizzly Duo. I contacted United Chargers and to order one because I was going to pay for it and ship it to your house. And when I contacted them and told them the story, the owner, Gleb Nikiforov, said, Tom, no charge. We're sending it to Fritz, and they sent it to you. We have it here.
Okay.
So we're going to install it here. And now you'll be able to charge 2 cars at once.
Yep.
I called the Qmerit team. They're on their way. And we're going to fix this, and we're going to get you charging again, because you've been stuck on level 1 now since this happened. It was like a month ago, right?
Yeah, it's
Sorry,
about a month
it took me long. We arranged to do this, but it was like at Thanksgiving and before Thanksgiving. And that Thanksgiving came, and I had some other issues, family issues. I had a death in the family, so I had to postpone coming here. So this poor guy's been charging his 2 EVs on level 1 for like a month now. But you made it work.
Yeah, we made it work. The Lightning can charge the Tesla when the Tesla gets low, and the Lightning pretty much sits there and charges most of the day anyway. So we ended up having a 2-car solution that worked for that.
Yeah. Okay. So the Qmerit team should be here any minute.
Okay.
We're going to let them look at it, decide what they want to do. I'm guessing they're probably going to pull the whole wire and everything because that's charred pretty bad in there.
Yeah.
Yes, the breaker's turned off. The box is melted. So they'll fix this all up, and we'll get you charging your EVs again. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, and thanks, Gleb.
Okay, so I'm here with Pete. He's the Qmerit contractor from Apex Electrical Contracting, I guess. That's the local Qmerit contractor in the area. And Pete has evaluated the situation here. Pete, what do we got going on?
So the homeowner installed their own EV receptacle and it melted. And the wire's a little short, so we're gonna take this wire out, cover this box, put a new one on the wall for them. And we're gonna use a industrial grade Hubble. It's a little more safe and a little more sturdy for what they got going on here.
So here's the Hubble, and here's the $10 Leviton that just melted. You could tell a little bit of a different quality, even though the crazy thing is, Leviton advertises this as industrial grade. They actually say this on their website where you buy them, which it obviously isn't. I don't know if there's a body that says like what you can call industrial grade, what you can use commercial, but I don't know how they get away with it. You can see it's...
It may be rated more for certain applications, for certain situations, but just because it says industrial or commercial grade doesn't necessarily mean you can use it for certain equipment.
Well, the duty cycle for electric vehicle charging is different than almost anything else because you've got this continuous charge going for many hours, sometimes every day of the week. Nothing else in the house uses that much current for that continuously long every day of the week. So, you need to go with the top flight stuff. And you're also going to use a torque wrench on this. Do you know the torque rating, what we have
It'd be 75 inch-pounds.
75 inch
and
pounds.
I have it in my little case right there.
Okay. Well, I'll be watching you doing it, so we'll make sure that everything gets done perfectly right, which I'm sure you're going to. All right, well, with that said, let's get this thing going and get Fritz charging again.
Of course.
Okay, Pete, so it looks like we're done, but almost done. What did we do here today?
So we took the old wire out of here that was burnt and fried. So we took that out to make it completely clean. We put new wire into the wall and put a surface mounted 4 and 11 box here. And we put a new breaker in just to make sure everything's new and all clean. Okay. Unfortunately, the distributors sent us with the wrong cover. It's a little too small.
It fits
It fits the old one.
It fits the old one just right, but the better industrial NEMA 1450s have a bigger diameter, and they sent the wrong cover plate. So while everything's working, you're gonna have to stop back with the right cover plate.
I'll come back and get the new one on there, and then it'll be completely done, and he'll be able to plug in and charge his EVs.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. I wish we could plug it in now and start charging, but let's not do that until we have a good cover plate on it, just for safety. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. And you wrapped this up pretty quickly. I mean, you did all the work in about an hour, it seemed like.
It wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks again.
Of course.
Okay, Fritz, so you're installed, kind of. Sorry that we couldn't completely wrap it up, but Pete said he's going to stop back hopefully later today with the right faceplate. They just gave him the wrong one, and this one's for the smaller outlets. The one that we replaced. They
gotcha.
Gave him the wrong. They gave him the wrong cover. As you could tell, these Hubbles are just
They're beefier.
they're beefier, so we've got to get a bigger plate for you. But other than that, you're done. And you also didn't want us to install the connector holsters yet because you're going to figure out where to put them.
Right. So yeah, we have 2 cars, and depending on whether we need to, park them in a different way or not, we're just gonna play the holsters by ear. But yeah, I mean, everything looks good, and we should be pretty much good to go. I mean, I also learned something kind of interesting is that, so the old socket has these aluminum screws mated to copper, and with different sort of expansion and whatnot, that could have been a contributing factor. These new ones, or the heavier dutier ones, they actually use like a copper clamp.
Yeah, I'll get this a little bit closer. It's a clamp as opposed to the screws that are in the cheaper ones, and that's what Pete was telling us, that's where he sees a lot of the failure points.
Yeah. So instead of trying to pin the wire in, it's squeezing it.
Yeah.
So that's going to be much better.
And I've also seen people with these screws torque it too much.
Oh, really?
And they compress the wire all the way down. Now the wire isn't the thickness that it's supposed to be.
Right.
And then it's easy for it to melt through. So it's not a matter of just keep torquing that thing. There's a reason why there's a specific torque amount that you're supposed to use on these outlets. And we saw Pete use the torque wrench to tighten it to, I think it was 75 inch-pound of torque. And we got you all torqued up properly. And he's just going to come back and put a plate on it. And then you could put your connector holsters, and now you can charge both your EVs at once.
All right. So what's 75 foot-pounds in Gutentite?
I don't have that conversion rate on hand. Listen, are you happy with everything that we did?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Looking forward to charging off of something other than a 110. So.
Yeah, it's been a bit. So listen, I'm glad we can come out and help you here, get you a nice new Grizzly Duo, nice new circuit here for your charging, and all the best with your Lightning and your Model Y. And now he's going to give me a ride back to the airport with the Lightning, which I appreciate. So it's got a nice red Lightning. I like that color, but I know my black looks cool too.
All right.
Anyway, thanks a lot. And if you have a problem that you had with your EV charging equipment at home, leave it in the description of this video, and maybe I'll come out and fix your issue too. All right, well, I'm back home now, but this whole recharge rescue isn't over just yet. If you recall, the Qmerit electrician was supplied with the wrong cover plate for that outlet box. So we didn't energize the circuit. He promised he'd be back either today or tomorrow. But Fritz couldn't wait, and I don't blame him. He's been charging on level 1 for like almost 2 months now. So, and that's on me because I promised him I was going to do this. Then we had a couple of delays. So I appreciate Fritz's patience, but I'm glad we were able to get him up and going. So Fritz drove me to the airport in his Lightning, as I mentioned, and I didn't even get home yet, and he already had the whole system finished and up and running. What he did was use the multi-tool to enlarge the outlet plate so he can put it over the outlet and secure it tightly and make it nice and safe so he could start charging his EVs. So he did that, and he actually shot a quick video of him plugging in his Lightning and his Tesla, and then making sure that the Grizzly Duo works. So why don't we take a quick look at that before I do my wrap up.
Hey Tom, so we got everything buttoned up. We got a good cover, and we're just about to energize the system. So we'll go ahead and turn it on here. And it looks like we got a white light and a blinking blue, which looks good. So we're gonna go to each of the vehicles and see them charging. So let's head over to the Lightning first. So this is a 40 amp EVSE that can do 40 amps to either or split 20. So we're gonna go ahead and see that in action. Take the camera here for you. And we can take a look at the charging speed. All right, 40 amps, 9.3 kilowatts. So now we're gonna go plug in the Tesla, see if it splits, and that back to you. All right. A little bit of a squeeze here. All right. Go ahead and plug it in here. We can see through the window here. Go ahead and hop inside. We are getting split to 20 amps. Just about there, yep. All right. And we can see again in the lightning, this is down to 20 amps as well. So yeah, everything's working great. So I just wanted to say thanks again, Tom. Thanks to Qmerit, and I really appreciate, thank you to Grizzly as well for supplying the charger. And this is working great. Thanks again.
Well, I'm happy Fritz was able to make that cover work for now. At least the Qmerit installer is going to come back and give him the appropriate one. Probably has done that already by this point, and he'll be fully complete there. But I'm glad he's charging his EVs, and the duo worked. It's delivering 40 amps to one vehicle, 20 when he splits it, so they could charge both of his electric vehicles at once. And I want to thank him for coming on State of Charge and talking this through. I know a lot of people that maybe do a self-install won't want to admit that on camera and say, look, I did this and I didn't do it properly and I had a problem. So thanks for coming on and doing that, Fritz. It's a public service to help explain to people maybe why they shouldn't be doing this on their own. And as another reminder quickly, just want to show you some of the stuff here that I've received from some of my other followers. This is the box that melted on somebody else who had one of the very inexpensive NEMA 1450 outlets. And here's another one. Look at that hole, burned through it completely. And, I can't stress enough that if you have one of these cheap outlets, you can really tell them quickly if it's only about an inch thick. If it has the screw-in terminal connections, chances are it's a very low quality outlet and you don't want to use that for your charging. Swap it out before you have a problem. I'm really liking the new Leviton EV specific outlets. I think it's over-engineered. I think it might even be better than the Hubble and Bryant's that we've been recommending for a long time. I think because, this was really specifically made to handle high current for a long period of time. And the construction of it seems as good, at least as good, as the Hubbles and Bryant's out there that have been high quality industrial grade NEMA 1450 outlets that I've been recommending people use. So I love this. It just, everything about it even feels heavier than the Hubble and Bryant. So I'm sure the other ones are just fine, but I think if I were to buy one today to install at my house, I'd probably get the Leviton EV specific one because it just seems like it's a super high quality outlet. And, that's what you want to use if you're going to use an outlet. I still like hardwiring better because, number one, you can draw more current. You can pull 48 amps if you have that capacity at your house, so you could charge a little bit faster. And it eliminates a potential point of failure, which is what the outlet is. So it just seems to be a better installation for me. If you have the ability to add a 60 amp circuit for a 48 amp hardwire, that's the way to go, in my opinion. But I know people have different needs and different wants, and they have different capacity available at their house. Some people just like doing the outlets. You can do it if it's done right. Make sure the connections are torqued to the manufacturer's specs, pull a permit, have it inspected, use high quality equipment, and you shouldn't have a problem. Listen, again, I want to tell the State of Charge community out there, if you have a problem with your charging equipment like this, something was done incorrectly, your charger, burned up or melted, or your NEMA 1450 outlet failed, let me know in the comment section, and maybe I'll visit your house next and fix your problem for you, because I kind of like doing this, and it's educational, and I also get to help people at the same time. So if you have an issue, let me know about it. Maybe you'll be next. And listen, if this is your first time here at State of Charge, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming electric vehicle news and reviews. And as always, thanks for watching.